welcome to Reality Tea Times 2, the podcast where we discuss all the trash reality TV we love to hate. I'm Tanika, and today we are finally I'm very behind, and I'm well aware, but you will be getting these, you're going to get a lot of episodes in this week coming, but, yeah, that's what we're going to be doing during the week. So, we're here to talk about MILF Manor from last week. I'm not sure if I'm going to be just doing standalone episodes or combining episodes. Probably going to be just doing standalone episodes, but this is from last week's episode. This week's you should get fairly shortly after this one. But let's just get into some hot goss before we do. So, we have the cast of Perfect Match announced. So let's get into who those people are. And of course, I will post pictures of everybody on the socials once this episode has aired. So we have Alara Taneri. She was on Dated and Related. So if you don't know who she is, after her brother, I think it's Kaylin, has her as her wingman, Alara Taneri ended up with Kieran Bishop on Dated and Related, though the two later went their separate ways. Kieran's brother Kaz is also appearing on Perfect Match, but we'll get to him in a minute. Britton Bird, she was on Too Hot to Handle season 4. Britton left Too Hot to Handle with James Prendergast. The pair later broke up, got back together, then ended things again, I guess for good. Next, Brighton Constantin, whatever. He's on Squid Games, The Challenge. Britton is better known as player number 432, who was a standout of Squid Games, The Challenge before being booted in episode 3. Chris Han, he was on Dated and Related. Chris didn't leave Dated and Related with anyone other than his wingman, which was his cousin Jason. Christine O'Banner, she was on Too Hot to Handle season 5. Christine partnered with Louise Russell on Too Hot to Handle, but their breakup was revealed on the show's social media the month after the season was released. We have a familiar face, Dom Gabriel, who was on season 1 of The Perfect Match and was also on The Mole. Dom, if you don't remember who he is, I'll refresh your memory. Dom was the third person eliminated from Netflix's revival of The Mole in 2022. He then went on to win season 1 of Perfect Match alongside Francesca Farrago, though the pair broke up after the season ended. Dominique Defoe, she was on Too Hot to Handle season 4. Dominique dated Nigel Euro, who is also on Perfect Match season 2 for a little while on Too Hot to Handle, but they broke up before the season ended. So this will be quite interesting for the episode. We have Elise Hutchinson, who was on Too Hot to Handle season 5. Elise won Too Hot to Handle and left the show in a relationship with Alex Snell, but they have since broken up. Harry Josie, and he was on Too Hot to Handle season 1. Harry left Too Hot to Handle in a relationship with Francesca, of all people, but the pair later broke up, you don't say. He later dated Georgia Hazzaretti after her breakup with Dom Gabriel, with whom she won season 1 of Perfect Match. Harry has since appeared on MTV's Match Me If You Can, Netflix's Floor is Lava, Netflix's Reality Games, the Australian version of The Amazing Race, and ABC's Dancing with the Stars. Oh, really? Oh, okay. Next, Holly Scarfone. She was on Too Hot to Handle season 3. Holly left Too Hot to Handle with Nathan Son Meningzomolu, but the two didn't stay together afterward. Next, person that we have talked about here on this podcast, Izzy Zapata. So if you don't remember Izzy, if you don't watch Love is Blind, if you wanted to pretend that season 5 never happened, well, I'll give you a little rundown. Izzy and his fiancée Stacy Snyder broke up on their wedding day in the Love is Blind finale. So, next, Jake Cunningham. Now, if the name doesn't sound familiar, and when I post a picture of the face doesn't look familiar, here's who he is. He was on the Ultimatum, Marry or Move On season 1. We did not cover this because I hadn't been podcasting yet, but he was on that season. So if you don't remember him, Jake was brought to the Ultimatum by his girlfriend, April Marie. At the end of the season, he broke up with her and set plans to go on a trip with his trial marriage partner, Ray Williams, though the two ended up deciding not to pursue a relationship. Next person, probably one of my favorite people out of the current season, or last season, I should say, of Love is Blind, Jessica Festal. So, if you don't remember Jessica had a connection with Jimmy in the Love is Blind pods, but he proposed to Chelsea instead, as we know. Well, people who listen to me, as we know. We have Justin Assad. He was on Surviving Paradise, never heard. Justin was eliminated in episode 9 of Surviving Paradise. Kaz Bishop, who is a snack. He was from Dated and Related. Kaz dated and later broke up with Diana Parzajanis on Dated and Related with the help of his brother and wingman Kieran, who we talked about briefly in the beginning. Alara Taniri, as I've mentioned, Kieran's ex from the show, is also on Perfect Match. We talked about her in the top of this. Melinda Melrose was on Too Hot to Handle season 2. After a fling with Peter Vigilante, Melinda left Too Hot to Handle in a relationship with Marvin Anthony. They later broke up, after which Melinda rekindled things with Peter, though they also didn't last together either. We got another familiar face, Micah Lewis. I don't know if I've said her name before. Lucier, whatever. She was on season 4 of Love is Blind. Micah got engaged to Paul Payton on Love is Blind, but as we know, they broke up. We got Nigel Euro, who's also really hot. He was on Too Hot to Handle season 4. Nigel dated both Kayla Richart and Dominique Defoe, who is also on Perfect Match. This should be interesting. Season 2 on Too Hot to Handle, but didn't make it to the end with either of them. We got Steven Ditter, who was on Too Hot to Handle season 3. Stefan Ditter left Too Hot to Handle single after spending the season pursuing Georgia Hazarati, who later ended up on season 1 of Perfect Match, where she won with Dom Gabriel. So why did they say that Francesca won earlier? That's incorrect. Anyways, yes, Georgia. I remember her now. So yeah, that's really weird. Who later ended up on season 1 of Perfect Match, where she won with Dom. She dated Harry Josie after Dom, and both Harry and Dom are on season 2 of Perfect Match with Steven. Oh my god. This is gonna be real messy, and I'm here for all of it. We got Tulu. I'm gonna butcher her name. I'm gonna try not to. Ukandar. Okay. She was on The Trust, A Game of Greed. Tulu won $73,600. Damn, girl. On The Trust. Second only to Brian Fireball's $78,000. That's $78,600. Damn. Now, this one shocked me, and I'm sure it's going to shock you if you haven't heard about it yet. Another familiar face. From Love is Blind season 6, Trevor Sova. What? They did not announce this on Love is Blind. And I don't know if that was planned then, that he was going to be on this episode, on the season, or what? Or he just got booed off the stage so fast they couldn't tell nobody. But anyway, Trevor Sova is on this show. What? Anyway, yeah. If you don't remember Trevor, I don't know how you don't. If you didn't watch if you didn't watch Love is Blind, then you don't know who he is. But for those people who did, I don't know how you forget. But here we go. Trevor had a connection in the Love is Blind pods with Chelsea, as we know. But she chose Jimmy again, as we know. During the season 6 reunion special, it was revealed that Trevor had been dating someone back home while filming the show, and host Nick Lachey, who also hosts Perfect Match, basically told him to get the fuck off the stage. If you remember, it was great. So yes, he will be there. I think we're almost done. There's a lot of people. Zinthani Perdicomatis, I think she's from the Circle season 5. Xanthi came in 5th place on the Circle alongside Brett Robinson, and that was the last person. So again, I will have all of the pictures posted on our socials once this episode has come out. So we have, since we're on the kind of Love is Blind a little bit trope here, I have my second piece of hot goss for you, because believe it or not, there was only one. The second piece of hot goss, which it's been knowledge for a while now, but we have a new baby being added to the mix, and that is Zach and Bliss's baby has arrived, and I'm going to try to respect the name here. I'm sure for those people who have heard. Okay, well, we've introduced their baby. Their baby's name is Galileo Figaro. Okay. All right. The daughter's name is Galileo Terry Rain, and she was born on April 26th. It's great. She came in weighing at 7 pounds, 11 ounces. And they have told, well, both Zach and Bliss have told People magazine that they are so in love with their precious, beautiful baby girl. And they continue on by saying, quote, "We are forever changed and are so blessed to spend the rest of our lives loving her. She is our moon, our stars, the center of our universe." So I will post some pictures that I have of them with their baby. And I mean, I'm not surprised by the interesting name. Bliss is an interesting name. But Galileo is well, interesting. But anyway, let's move on to the next piece of hot gossip. This is a doozy, y'all. This is relating to 90 Day Fiancé. And not a main cast member, but a mother of the main cast member. And yes, I am talking about Claire. Claire has recently been arrested. Yeah. She was booked on May 10th, 2024. And what are her charges? Well, here we go, everybody. Terroristic threat of family/household. What the fuck? And her bond amount is $5,000. Y'all want to go bond her out? I'm shook if. I mean, wow. I wonder who it was that she, quote unquote, threatened. Well, wow, I mean, it's a family member. I don't know who it could be. But yes, that is it for the hot goss. The only thing I do want to mention, because it has been circulating for some time now, I will do a more formal hot goss situation in another episode. But Joan has been chosen for the Golden Bachelorette, and I'm so happy. I'm happy with that. I'm happy with that decision. I mean, it would have been great. I mean, honestly, I feel like there's no one on that season that I couldn't be happy for, except for Matt James' mom. I figured they would. I thought that maybe they could find a way to make that happen, and I would have been pissed. But anyways, I'm happy with Joan. I thought she really deserved it. Her time got cut short. I think it was probably for the best, and yeah, I thought that's really great. But I will do again another formal thing of the Golden Bachelorette being decided on another episode. I just wanted to throw it in here because I thought, like, it's pretty amazing that she is the Golden Bachelor. But let's get into the reason that we are here. MILF Manor, Season 2, Episode 3. She's all MILF? Okay, let's get into it, because this is a doozy. So, it's the next day. We get a flashback from the night before. If I remember, this was the fight between Barbie and Crystal. Why is her name not coming to me? It was from the myth that we have from that. And the flashback is basically showing Barbie moving her stuff out of the room. But Barbie has a lot of shit. Like, a lot of shit. And she's like, how am I supposed to do this? A lot of shit. My God. Anyway. Crystal is like, she took every last speck down to the last 2 hash, guys. I added that part. You know, you are in Canada though. When you see Hudson Bay memorabilia all over the fucking place. I see the cups. I see the blankets. Now, again, if you are not a Canadian and you aren't familiar with the Hudson Bay of it all, it's the cups that have the colored lines, like the red, the green, yellow. That's the Hudson Bay logo. It's a Hudson Bay. You can get all kinds of different things. You can get cups, blankets, like I've mentioned, as we've seen here, mittens, scarves, all kinds of different shit. It's fucking expensive. I don't own anything, or I should rephrase that. My mom has bought stuff from Hudson Bay because they were on sale. That's the most, I have mittens, Hudson Bay mittens. But yeah, it's, I just see that. I'm like, yep, you know, you're in Canada. When? So yeah, so we see Darren talking about that he's like a moth to a flame when it comes to being with women who are drama, like we have now seen with Barbie and Crystal. So we see Crystal talking to Stacy. Stacy is Miles' dad. And she's like, was I wrong? Was I wrong about the whole thing? I think you took it a step too far. Yeah. And the thing is, you're asking him if you were wrong when he doesn't have the full picture. He only has what he saw inside. He doesn't know what the fuck you said to Barbie outside. No one does at this point. And when you say to somebody, I have friends that have done worse than you, I mean, my girl, come on. You have to know that you're pretty much in the wrong here. And Barbie's only reacting to the words you said. I mean, come on now. So anyway, Stacy says, well, you didn't throw hands when I know you probably wanted to. And I'm like, yeah, go ahead and throw hands, see what happens. And the thing is, again, I will say this. Either person who would have thrown hands, if Barbie would have thrown that glass at her face or whatever, it would have been a done deal. I hope, anyways, if that's the case. But as Black people, we have to be so cautious. We can't throw hands, even if maybe you want to. But in this case, Crystal, you have no reason to throw hands. Like, literally talking to my mom about this, we're both like, I actually thought we would like her. And maybe it is because we're Black or whatever. But it's very rare where you see Black people in shows like this, right? Even last season, we only had 2 out of all of the women that we had 2. That's it, 2, and none of them really had something that was fulfilling at all, right? So in a group of 6, we have 1. So yes, you do, as a Black person, you do want to hope you can like a person but I can't like her, because it's just like, you're dumb. And there's a point too, I don't know if I wrote this down, but there's a point too in the show where she's like showing us how she does her eyes thing. And I'm like, so you're fake. It's not cute. Because if you're so aware that you're doing it, it's fake. It's not. I don't like her. I don't like her. Anyway, but either way, Crystal says that she wants nothing to do with Barbie. Great. Then she says, if I like someone, here we go, the whole squinting of it all. I've talked about it. She's stupid. Anyway, then we see Christina talking to Jamie. And Jamie says that she is having phrenology, nothing really sparking. She says she's dealing with an internal struggle. We will find out what that is in a little bit. Christina is like, something is off. You don't fucking say. Anyways, then we see a car pull up and a person come out. Now, in the last episode, I talked about the fact that I suspected the person coming out of this car was gonna be Kelly. And I saw her and I thought, it looks just like Kelly. It has to be Kelly. There's no one, unless there's someone out there who looks like Kelly, it has to be Kelly. And y'all, I was right. It was fucking Kelly. Kelly is here. And I thought, okay, I think I said it last time too, having Kelly and Barby in the same room together is going to be really fucking interesting. At the very least, it's going to be real interesting. So, she says that, she tells us that this is, that her and Jose, remember Jose was the one she went home with, they were together for a bit, but, they're not together now. They're basically just friends, and she still says that he's a great guy. So with her coming in, I totally forgot. She's like, where's Joey? And you're thinking, wait, does she know Joey? Her son's name was Joey, so she's like stirring the pot. I completely forgot that her son's name was Joey. The Joey we currently have says that he thinks that Kelly is the hottest woman in the house. Didn't he say Barbie was? So now that Kelly's here, she's the hottest girl. Anyway, so with Kelly coming in, clearly no one watched the previous season because no one recognizes her except for Barbie. Barbie does. Barbie watched the show. Barbie, like everyone else, has the same opinion on Kelly, that she's a fucking lot. And she doesn't like her. Now, she was annoying. I don't know if I would say I don't like her, but she was annoying. She was a lot. She was a lot. She was a lot. Kind of. I think like Barbie says she's a mean girl and she's gonna be the queen bee here, or try to at least be the queen bee here. Well, yeah, because she was the queen bee in season 1. That's just her personality. But anyway, Kelly says that the dads are hot, but so are the sons. So we get a text, and it's Kelly who reads it and says that she will be going on a date with her favorite father-son duo. Oh boy, we'll get to that and how fun this date is going to be. She says that she is ideally into Joey and Ashley. So she got a son and a father that she really likes. I mean, Ashley's hot, so. But she talks to Joey first and Anthony. And she's like, or I guess before Anthony got there, because she's like, who's your daddy? And Anthony's like, I'm your daddy. He's funny. Christina is like, why is she talking to my man? Honey bunny, sweetie pie, I like you. But no one is your man at this point. It's a free for all for everybody at this point. I don't know what it is with the women on this season, or maybe I should say in particular, Christina and Crystal, who think that they have dibs on the men that they're talking to. It's too soon for that. It's yeah. Anyway. So Kelly, I forgot, has 6 fucking kids. Jesus. Joey's like, 6 kids? That's a lot. My guy, they're like your age. It's not like you have to raise them. They're grown. About 6 kids is too much. What do you think, you're gonna be stepdaddies out on them? Anyways, calm down. Um, then she talks to Darren and Sam, and Sam apparently skipped the semester of school so he could be here. Lovely, great idea. Then she talks to Miles and Stacy, but Miles, wow, uncomfortably quiet through his discussions with her. He was saying absolutely nothing. And maybe it's partially he is shy, but I feel like I don't know. I don't know enough about him. I don't know if I will know enough about him, but he's very quiet. Stacy is like, hey, you're probably not going to get much out of him. Fuck you, Stacy. You haven't even talked to your son. You don't know him enough, really know him in the last few years to say anything. These are the years that you've missed are important years of his life, and you've missed them. Every year really truly is an important year of your child's life, and you've missed them. And now you want to come talk about how, oh, he doesn't have a lot to say? Fuck you. You also don't have a lot to say, because what you should be saying is apologizing to your fucking son. Angering. Anyway. So Barbie fills in the ladies about Kelly saying that she was a personality in season 1, an acquired taste. And I believe she said like sardines. That's disgusting, Barbie. That's disgusting. Okay. Then we see her talking to Ashley and Jacob. And if we know, kind of, there's been a little bit of a thing between Barbie and Jacob. And Ashley doesn't want anyone with baggage. Sir, you're really, really hot. Really hot. You're really dumb too. What? How are you going to date somebody in like an appropriate age to you who doesn't have baggage? Fuck. How are you going to date someone who's maybe even 20 years younger than you who doesn't have fucking baggage? I am 33 years old officially. I got baggage. Like, how? You know? But I loved Kelly in this moment because she's like, well, do you have baggage? And he's like, yeah, I probably do. She's like, so you want to date someone who doesn't have baggage yet you, sir, have baggage. Okay. Makes sense. Then while Jacob is talking to Kelly, doesn't Barbie just get apparently the coochie tingle? And with her getting the coochie tingle, goes over to Jacob and kisses him in front of Kelly. And I'm like, okay, that was an interesting move, Barbie. I'll give you 10 points to Barbie. However, Kelly, in true Kelly fashion, says, that doesn't scare me, honey. And then also she's like, I can do that too. And then goes in and kisses Jacob. Now, 15 points to Kelly. Because the thing is, it's like, you're not going to achieve what you want to achieve by going over there and kissing Jacob. What do you think that's going to do? Again, in the words of Barbie from last episode, no one's dibbed yet. No one can call dibs on anybody yet. It's too soon for that. So just because you like Jacob does not mean that someone else might not also like Jacob. Although, Jacob seems to really like Barbie, so I think he might be okay. Ultimately, though, Kelly decides to take Anthony and Joey on the date. So, before we head over to the date, Jacob and Barbie are going to scissor on the dock. It was really weird choice of words. And they're basically just having a little bit of a conversation. Jacob explains that he's just been feeling very reserved since his dad got there, but he would love to get to know her. And he thinks that the Realfie room might be utilized at some point in the future. But however, Barbie tells him that she doesn't want to move too quickly and that maybe the Realfie room is not going to be utilized yet. or maybe ever. We don't know. Then we are on the date. We are going to be doing yoga, tantric yoga, with all three of them together at the same fucking time. Here is where the ick factor sets in, and I'm still here for it. So, yeah. Joey is like, at first saying, I don't even know what tantric yoga is. And I can't remember if it was his dad or Kelly, but one of them says to him, it's like sex yoga. And he's like, oh, for fuck's sakes. Even he is like, no, thank you on that. Kelly is going to be in the middle. And the first move that's done, Anthony has to like put his hands on her knees and then do a forward bend. It looks like he is about to do some kind of cunnilingus on her. That's literally what it looks like. And it was really, it was a choice. Ma'am, yoga instructor, it was a choice. Lord. Anthony, at one point says to Kelly, are you good, honey? But Joey thinks that he's saying it to him, and Joey's like, yeah, Dad, I'm great. And he's like, I was talking to her. Since when do I call you honey? Like, what the fuck? Then Anthony is like, this stretch is great. Is it good for you? What the fuck? And even Kelly's like, did he really truly just say that to me? Anyway. So back at the house, the women question whether or not Miles really likes any of them because he's not really out there talking to them. Literally, we have Miles and Stacy just cooped up in the house while everyone else who's there is outside. They're not even partaking. But Jacob does say, well, listen, I don't want to say too much because it's not my business, but he kind of fills them in on the situation between Miles and Stacy and how he is just kind of, you know, how he's kind of feeling through all of this. Jacob does hope that, you know, Stacy and Miles do get the chance to talk, but I think at the same time, just gathering the kind of person Stacy is, and as far as I'm concerned, Stacy should be making the first move on having a conversation with Miles. He is, after all, his father. I feel like Stacy's the kind of person that won't. He's not that kind of person. I think he probably loves his kid. I'm not saying he doesn't. I don't know him enough to say whether he does or he doesn't. But I think he also doesn't give a shit. He doesn't give a shit. So I don't know if that'll ever happen. But I guess we'll see. Back at the date, both Kelly and Anthony, while in Warrior 2 pose, with Joey just doing a stretch down on the mat, are just staring into each other's eyes. They both seem to be kind of into the moment and seem to be really liking each other. So I think for Kelly, Anthony is kind of her first pick. So now the daters are back from the date, and Joey tells some of the people there that it was the worst date of his life. And he explains it was oily, and they're like, oily? And it was wet. What? And they're like, at a restaurant? Like, you were at a restaurant? They're like, no, we did sex yoga. Okay. And he seems traumatized through this whole, like, he seems very traumatized. Then he gets up and says, I'm going to go change. And somehow, Christina makes this shit about her. Christina is like, he didn't even talk to me. Why didn't he talk to me? We've been so comfortable with each other. Like, why wouldn't he talk to me? And he hurt my feelings. I'm just going to ignore him now. Like, I get that's childish, but since he ignored me, I'm going to ignore him. Woman, grow the fuck up and look beyond yourself. This man just had an experience that no child should have with their fucking father and another woman. And he looks fucking traumatized through the whole thing and needs to, I don't know, clean his brain out. And you are making it about you. It's not fucking about you. How about you have some fucking compassion for the person that you claim to have feelings for and give him a minute. Give him a fucking minute. Like, again, your guys are so early on. He owes you nothing really and truly. But give him a fucking minute. Like, when I saw this, I'm like, you can't be fucking serious, Christina, that you're really truly making this about you. Unbelievable. Anyways. And then you're going to ignore him like this is high school? Grow up. Anyway, listen, and I'm not saying this for everybody, but for Christina in particular, clearly the reason that she wants to be with younger men is because she hasn't grown up herself. Let's continue. So then she goes to her room and we see her that she's talking to Jamie. And this is when shit hits the fan a little bit. And they start talking about kind of the experience at this point. And she asks her, would you go out with anyone? Like, do you see anyone here that you would actually go out with? And Jamie says if she did, maybe it would be Anthony. She seems to kind of like him a little bit. But I am having an internal struggle, as she's mentioned earlier, but now she's mentioning it to Christina. And she says, listen, the reason I am not having a connection is because, and you're thinking in this moment that she's going to say she's maybe bisexual. Maybe she likes Christina or something. No, that is not what it is said. Jamie says, I have a boyfriend back home. I'm sorry, what? I was not expecting that at all. She said she has a boyfriend. And she said she doesn't want people to know. And she doesn't want anyone. She doesn't want anyone to know about it. She doesn't want to talk about it with anyone. She doesn't want anyone to know. So you're hiding the fact that you have a boyfriend and you're here on MILF Manor where you're supposed to be making some form of a connection with somebody. Why are you here? But Christina is like, that's not me. I wouldn't share anything with anybody. So don't you worry. Cue Christina and then going to the hot tub to go talk to Lynette. It was, the editing was perfect. I won't tell anybody. Okay, Lynette, I need to talk to you. But before we get to that, Anthony and Kelly are playing poker. He has been dating for 54 years, he says. And I'm like, your whole damn life? From the point you came out of the womb, you've been dating? Wow. Then Jamie comes in out of fucking nowhere and steals Anthony away. And Kelly is like, take your wine, take your wine, Anthony, take your wine. Okay. But Kelly's pissed, and Kelly's about to be even more pissed. Because she's like, you see, we're having a moment here, and you just come in and steal him. It's about to get worse. We then see, as I've mentioned, Christina go over to the hot tub to talk to Lynette. And she says, you know how loyal I am to people? Ma'am, you want to talk about being loyal? You're literally out here about ready to tell everybody that Jamie has a boyfriend. I understand. I can't imagine the position she's in, but don't be out here claiming you're fucking loyal. You're about to tell everybody that she has a boyfriend. She says, Jamie has a boyfriend. And Lynette is like, as I said earlier, why is she here? That's like going to a gas station and not owning a car, ma'am. She says it's unfair because all she is doing is unburdening herself under Christina. And that's very true. She definitely is. She says, oh, okay, thank God I've told somebody. And I think also, which is a good point here that you don't think about in the moment, Lynette also mentions like she took a spot from somebody who maybe really didn't deserve to be here. And that was taken from her so that Jamie could be on the show. But Lynette says, Christina would not have been able to win in this situation. It's either she doesn't tell anybody, and then eventually it'll come out, and they'll find out Christina knew, and they'll get mad at Christina for not saying something. Or she says something now, and you risk Jamie being upset. I go for the latter, for sure. I'm not gonna, listen, you're gonna tell me something that juicy? I'm gonna fucking tell people. Because that's a problem. So Lynette is like, fuck that. I'm gonna talk to all the women. So she pulls them all aside and says, I'm gonna blow some shit up. She says, so how would you feel if someone had a boyfriend? And Barbie's like, I am lost. Who has a boyfriend? And they're like, well, clearly none of us because we're all here. So it clearly has to be either Christina or Jamie because Christina wasn't there. And someone does ask, is it Jamie? And yes. And Kelly's like, okay, so Jamie just stole homeboy from me and she has a boyfriend? What the fuck? And she's like, do we confront her? Like, what do we do? And they're like, let's do this. Let's go, girls. We're going to go confront her. And Barbie's like, well, fuck, I was going to go to bed, but I'm awake. I am Barbie and Barbie is me. I'd be awake too. I'm like, I'm so good to go. Let's go. And so while Jamie is talking to Anthony, here comes the group. And Kelly is like, this is so uncomfortable, but you really seem great and all, but I heard you have a boyfriend. Like, what the fuck? And Lynette is like, it's not fair to anyone that you have a boyfriend and you're here. And Kelly is like, yeah, like, do you have a boyfriend? Because she still hasn't answered the question. And then she's like looking at Anthony, like Anthony's supposed to answer the question for her or something. And Kelly's like, no, don't look at him. He can't help you. Don't look at him. Answer the question. It's simple. Answer the fucking question. And Anthony's like, okay, come on, let's be nice. Anthony, shut up. This is a problem that the women need to deal with. But Kelly's like, no, it's a respect thing. Yes or no to having a boyfriend. And then Jamie, weirdly, she's sitting down and there's a decent space between everybody here. It was really fucking weird. I feel like Jamie's trying to deflect here. But Jamie gets up after she was sitting, stands up and says, well, what I don't like is people being in my face. Man, who the fuck's in your face? Who the fuck's in your face? You stood up and then they're like in your face. What are you talking about? This is all her trying to deflect. She doesn't like the fact that people now know she has a boyfriend now the heat is on her. Then why'd you come? The minute you decided to be in a relationship with somebody is when you should have bowed out of the fucking process. Like, because the question is then, why are you here? There has to be some sort of ulterior motive to why you are here. And to me, it feels like you're here for the likes and the follows. That is what it feels like. But that is it for last week's episode of MILF Manor. Again, I will probably have the second episode of MILF Manor to you either the same day I give this to you or the next day I give this to you. But hopefully you should have it pretty soon. But that is it for MILF Manor. So if you like what you heard, please rate, review the podcast on either Apple Podcasts or Spotify. Also, don't forget that you can also share us with everyone in your life if you really love this. And I do want to read those reviews. I'm definitely getting 5-star ratings, but I want to read those reviews. So send me those reviews and I will read those 4 and 5-star reviews on the podcast. Also, we're on every one of your favorite podcast apps. every one of them, including you can find us on YouTube at Reality Tea Times 2. If you want to connect with us, you can do so by going to either Facebook or Instagram at Reality Tea Times 2. You can also find us on Twitter, TikTok, Reddit at Reality Tea Times 2 Pod. We also have our email, which is at realityteatimes2 at hotmail.com. Definitely want to hear from you guys. And we also have our new website where you can listen to all of these episodes. You can review the podcast on there as well. You can connect with me in any way, all the stuff. It's all there, and you can find me there at www.realityteatimes2, all spelled out, .podpage.io. It's there. And don't forget, I also have my other podcast with my friend Mikkel, Next Take Podcast, where we talk about all kinds of different topics. But you can find us on any of your favorite podcast apps over there as well. Or you can also go to YouTube, and you go to Next Take Podcast, as well as our website, which is solo.to/Next Take Podcast. So yeah, there's that, and that's basically that. And again, don't forget, if all of this information is overwhelming, we do have all of the links, everything in our show notes. But that is it for now, guys. Thanks. Bye.